All right, welcome to today's Steady Trader YouTube Live. We're going to keep it very straightforward today. A lot of people always ask me, Serge, what are the one or two stocks that you look for to give you the clue for the market? Let me just be very clear, there is no such thing. There's not one thing that's going to tell you, one stock or two stocks that are going to tell you everything you need to know about the stock market. It is much more complex than that. However, when we look at consumer discretionary spending, and which is a large part of GDP, somewhere between 65 and 70% of GDP, US GDP, there is one stock I like to watch quite close. Again, it's not the end-all be-all, but it is an important stock, and the stock is none other than Starbucks. When I see Starbucks start to act weak or lackluster, I take notice, particularly when it's in this stage of the cycle. So let's have a look at the chart. I'm going to show you guys what the chart looks like and how that might juxtapose to the broader market right now. So I'm going to quickly turn around the thing here and get us right over to the chart. So what we're looking at here is a long-term chart. Let me quickly get this straightened out. A long-term chart of Starbucks, and basically these are still daily increments. Let me quickly make this weekly increments or weekly bars. And what you can see here is that Starbucks has basically not done anything since about up here, which is about, let's call it about October of 2015. Let me get this in a little bit more closely and this a little bit further down. So basically Starbucks, as much as the company is doing well, it hasn't really done anything since this point here, which if you look down again is about, let's call it the autumn of 2015. And that's a fairly lengthy time for a stock like that to not do anything. To kind of make this a little bit more obvious, let me just quickly show you. This is kind of what it's done over the past couple of years, right? Now, to put this in sort of a little bit more perspective, what you can see here is that at the same time, the broader market is pushed higher. Well, Starbucks does have somewhat of a growth issue. It's not the end of the world. I don't think this company is going anywhere badly over the long term. It's a great company with still good growth prospects, but it's starting to lag. And to me, that is beginning to be a little bit of a sign now, finally, that maybe there is a consumer that's getting a little bit tired, as much as we still are very much in an expansionary phase, although very much at the late cycles. Now, if you look at the charts a little bit more closely, you can see we have that red line, which is the 200-week moving average. That's this red line, and we're starting to get towards it. And I think if we were to break that, we would also at this point start to break below or out of this consolidation phase to the downside. We're not yet doing it. And I'm not necessarily saying there is an immediate term trade to do, but it's certainly something to watch. Now, if we look at the daily charts, you can see that this all looks a little bit more concerning. I'm going to quickly get rid of these two lines. And what you can see here is that for the first time in some time, we're starting to make a series of lower highs. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more closely. And please give us a thumbs up like if you enjoy this. You can see we made a high here in June of 2017. We made a lower high just a few weeks ago, and potentially, we're going to be making another lower high here. Now, what's interesting at this point in time is you can see these moving averages here. These are the 50-day, the 100-day, and the 200-day. They're all coming together. So there's a confluence zone of technical resistance. If this proves to be another lower high, we will have made 1, 2, 3 lower highs, which ultimately then could, and I say could, lead to ultimately a break lower and fail below that 200-week moving average that I showed you guys before. So again, it'll be very, very clear. There's not one stock that's going to tell us everything we need to know about the broader stock market. But I do think that shares of Starbucks, let me quickly switch this around here. But I do think that shares of Starbucks are an important tell, particularly at this juncture in the market. Again, Starbucks has not done anything going forward, or not going forward, for the past, since October 2015. And I do think this is starting to be a bit of a sign that consumer discretionary spending and the consumer in general is starting to get a little bit tired. So Starbucks here, from my perspective, as much as I like the drinks, as much as I like the company long term, I'm not a buyer of it right here. That's not a recommendation. What I'm trying to show you is that there are some stocks that you can gain some insight into the broader market from. So for me, Starbucks here, if anything, is probably a short, particularly if we make another lower high. Hope this makes sense, folks. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down below. Make sure to join us in Arizona for the workshop. It's March 16th to the 18th in Phoenix. Going to be a wonderful 2.5 day workshop. There's going to be information on that as well down below. And I wish you guys a great rest of the day. I'll see you in the next YouTube Live.